everyone, and welcome back to another video on Maanav Sports Talk. In this video, we're going to be going over the 2021 NFL Pro Bowl. Obviously, this year, it's going to be a little bit different with the COVID restrictions and all that stuff. But basically, what it's going to be this year is it's kind of lame. But I mean, honestly, there's nothing you can do about it. But basically, what's going to be happening is it's going to be virtual, obviously, but the main thing is that it's going to be on Madden. So basically, what they're going to be doing this year is that they're going to be loading the Pro Bowl rosters onto Madden. And, people like me, I have Madden, I can play it on my console. I mean, I can just go put out the new roster. But mainly, you're going to see these legends and celebrities and players come together, something like that, on the EA Sports Madden NFL 21. There's going to be a Pro Bowl celebration also this Sunday. It'll be on ESPN and on NFL socials. But they're just going to be celebrating the players. But basically, I think on the NFL social channels such as YouTube and Twitter, they're going to have players who will be playing the game, I think. Something like that. The players are going to be playing Madden with the Pro Bowl roster, and it's going to be pretty fun to watch. But obviously, it's never going to be as good as what the Pro Bowl was. I mean, the Pro Bowl anyway wasn't even that amazing, but at least it was fun watching the players go. It was going to be in Las Vegas this year in Allegiant Stadium. Obviously got canceled, but so that's pretty much how the Pro Bowl is going to work this year. Obviously, I don't really know how much I'm going to watch it. Personally, I'm not going to really watch it that much. But let's go ahead and go over the rosters. I'm going to be telling you who I think got snubbed. There are a ton of snubs on this year's roster. If you don't know, you can vote on the Pro Bowl. You can vote for your favorite players, and I think that's honestly what kind of ruins the selections in the Pro Bowl, because it's pretty much just saying who is the most famous players in the NFL for each position. I mean, that's pretty much what the Pro Bowl has come down to. They don't really choose who are the actual best players. I mean, it's mostly about the big name guys, and they're going to make the Pro Bowl. But there are a lot of snubs here, and we're going to be going over that, and we're going to be starting off with the quarterbacks. So the three quarterbacks this year for the AFC are Deshaun Watson, Josh Allen, and Patrick Mahomes. There's no need to talk about Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes. We know those two guys automatically were easy Pro Bowl selections. Those two guys had tremendous years. Josh Allen, one of the best years of his career. But a little bit of a debate here on whether Ryan Tannehill should have made the AFC roster or not. Personally, I don't think there's room for him. You have Deshaun. How can you leave out Deshaun for Ryan Tannehill? To me, that doesn't really make much sense. Now, if you go based on stats, Deshaun leads the league in passing yards. Obviously, Tannehill does not throw the ball very much compared to Deshaun, and as they use Derrick Henry a lot, but the exact same touchdown to interception ratio, which is 33-7. Deshaun has 70% completion compared to Tannehill's 66%. If you go by QBR, Tannehill has a 78 QBR compared to Watson's a 70 QBR. And then obviously, Tannehill's team was 11-5. Deshaun's team was 4-12. But going by rushing yards, Deshaun had 450 rushing yards with 3 touchdowns. Tannehill had 7 rushing touchdowns with 266 yards. But obviously, those rushing touchdowns are from the 1-yard line pretty much all the time. So, besides that one gallop against Green Bay. But, I mean, you have to give it for Deshaun, I think. Personally, I'm a Texans fan, but he had a tremendous year. It was one of the best years we've seen from a quarterback. He was leading this team by himself. He was putting them on his back. And he was making this Texans team watchable. And they won 4 games only because of Deshaun Watson. Otherwise, they're an 0-16 team. He made this team look really great on the offensive end. And it was just a tremendous hero ball from Deshaun, putting this team on his back and really showing what he's got without DeAndre Hopkins. Pretty much no running game, a terrible offensive line, stuff like that. And that's why Deshaun should go on this list. I don't think there's any question. I mean, Tannehill's got so much support, especially by the King Derrick Henry. So, to me, it's Deshaun, obviously Patrick, and Josh Allen. Then on the NFC side, you got Kyler Murray, Russell Wilson, and Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers and Russell Wilson, those two have to make it up for the NFC. Kyler, I don't know. If you take a look at the season end statistics, you'll see that Tom Brady is better than Kyler Murray. But the thing is, these guys did the voting and stuff earlier. They did it like mid-December, which really doesn't make much sense. The season isn't over. There are a couple of weeks left in the season. And if they did it at the end of the season, I think that would have been better. You would have gotten a better idea. At the time, Kyler Murray was much better than Brady. But obviously, no Tom Brady. Much better than Kyler Murray to finish off the season. But of course, Kyler was better at the time. So that's okay for them. Now for the running backs, I don't think there's really any issues, honestly, with the running backs. I think whoever made it was honestly deserving to make it. So you can see the list right there. Obviously, Dalvin Cook, Aaron Jones, those two guys were really great. I mean, you have the king himself, Derrick Henry. That was an easy choice for the AFC. I mean, you had Nick Chubb. What a player for the Cleveland Browns. Their running attack is one of the best in the league. And then obviously you have the one and only Alvin Kamara, who I think is in the MVP conversation. The do-it-all running back for the New Orleans Saints was absolutely terrific this year for them. And yeah, I mean, the issue with one thing would be Josh Jacobs making it. I have a little bit of an issue with that. He was obviously not too great to end the season. So you could have put in James Robinson. I know he was on the 1-15 Jaguars, but the dude was putting up some really great numbers, and he was really fun to watch for their offense. He was a playmaker. Maybe you could have sneaked him in instead of Josh Jacobs. But, I mean, that's just me, but I don't know what you guys think. That's what I think. But those are the running backs. Wide receivers, I think they got it pretty much spot on for the AFC. Obviously, Stephon Diggs obviously had to make it. A.J. Brown, those two guys are studs. And then obviously you have the rest of the guys, Tyreek Hill, etc. I think they did fine for the AFC. NFC-wise, Devontae Adams obviously was going to make it. Justin Jefferson, DK Metcalf, those two guys. Justin Jefferson is really good. I think he deserved to make it. DeAndre Hopkins was just amazing for the Arizona Cardinals in his first year. That really makes Bill O'Brien and Bill O'Brien and the Texans look really stupid because DeAndre had some kind of season. Obviously, the highlight was the Hail Murray, that catch from 4 people from the Bills. Obviously, DeAndre. There are a lot of other guys who could have possibly replaced Justin Jefferson. I mean, you have Calvin Ridley who could have jumped in there, but I think Justin Jefferson is deserving of that spot. You had Keenan Allen on the other side for the AFC. That spot is also a little bit up for grabs. I mean, I think Keenan Allen deserved that spot. But, that's the way it is. There are only so many spots, and that's the problem. They should have some more spots for certain, groupings. So, now, offensive line-wise, there are a couple of places where you could have looked at it. Maybe instead of Bitonio, you could have put in Wyatt Teller. Wyatt Teller, the Cleveland Browns offensive lineman, really makes a difference for their lineup, much more than what Bitonio does. Garrett Bowles is another option for the tackles. He's a really good one from the Broncos. He's been one of the best in the league. Should have some consideration there. And obviously, Zach Martin. Obviously, you may think, well, it's the Cowboys. He wasn't that good. He was injured. But come on. This guy played so many different positions. He was the only guy pretty much on the Cowboys offensive line who stayed healthy. I think Zach Martin should have made it. He did a lot of different things for this year for the Cowboys offense, and he was really the bright spot for them, honestly. And that's the offensive line. But tight ends, I had a major problem with the NFC tight ends. Why in the world is Evan Ingram the tight end? I don't understand how Evan Ingram can be the tight end. I'm fine with TJ Hawkinson. Evan Ingram, he's not even that good. He was trash, honestly. He had 1 touchdown and 63 catches for 654 yards. Why did they not put Robert Tonyan? Robert Tonyan was so good. He had 11 touchdowns compared to that 1 touchdown from Ingram. 52 catches from 586 yards. 10 more touchdowns? Come on, guys. NFL fans, come on. Don't you know better? It's like Evan Ingram is just a bigger name than Robert Tonyan. But Robert Tonyan played much better this year. He should have been there. It makes no sense. But now we'll be moving on to the defense. There are a lot of spots here that have a lot of snubs. So for the defensive line for the AFC, obviously Myles Garrett and Joey Bosa, those two guys were terrific for them this year. But the thing that really surprised me and struck me is how in the world Frank Clark is somehow in the Pro Bowl. The dude wasn't even that good this year. Personally, he wasn't good at all. I don't know. I never saw him on the film. I never saw him have any kind of impact for the Chiefs. I never saw him make any kind of big plays. I mean, he only had 29 tackles, 8 tackles for losses, 15 quarterback hits, and 6 sacks only. And the candidate that should have done it was Emmanuel Agba, the former Chief, now for the Dolphins. 42 tackles, 6 tackles for losses. I mean, 42 tackles is already much more than Clark. And then this is where 21 QB hits, much greater than Frank Clark, and then 9 sacks, plus 3 on Frank Clark. Emmanuel Agba definitely should have made it. It's just because, Clark is more famous, that's all. Emmanuel Agba definitely should have made the AFC. Now, for the NFC, it gets even worse. They put in Cam Jordan, Brandon Graham, and Chase Young. But the thing that is really stupid is how in the world Trey Hendrickson did not make the Pro Bowl. This guy led the league in sacks. I mean, that's the one thing you have to do to get onto the Pro Bowl. Lead the league in sacks. He had 13 and a half sacks. I mean, if that isn't even good enough, I don't know what is. Trey Hendrickson, 1 forced fumble, 25 QB hits, and 25 tackles. He leads the league in sacks. That's all you need to hear. I mean, the dude was wrecking havoc all over the Chiefs also. That tells you how good he was. And compared to Cam Jordan, I mean, Cam Jordan only had 7.5 sacks, same forced fumbles. I mean, he had 51 tackles, which is double the amount, and he had 9 less QB hits. I think Trey Hendrickson should have made it instead of him, honestly. And then you have Brandon Graham, who had 2 forced fumbles, 8 sacks, 46 tackles, and 16 QB hits. So Brandon Ingram, yeah, he was good, but there's a guy better than that, and that's Brian Burns. Brian Burns, he was burning it up. He had 3 forced fumbles, 9 sacks. This is much better. 9 sacks, 58 tackles, and 21 QB hits, which are all better than Brandon Graham. So to me, the list should have been Brian Burns, Trey Hendrickson, and Chase Young. Chase Young had a pretty good year as a rookie. You got to remember, he was a huge impact maker on the Washington football team defense. He continuously got double teamed as a rookie, but he had 4 forced fumbles, 4 passes defended, 1 touchdown. You remember that touchdown against the 49ers? He had that, which was pretty fast. 3 fumble recoveries. He had 7.5 sacks and 44 tackles. So Chase Young definitely should have made this, and he did. Now the interior defensive linemen, and other parts of the D-line. I mean, you got Calais Campbell on that list. But I don't think Calais Campbell should have made it at all. He only had 18 tackles and 4 sacks compared to the guy who should have made it instead. DeForest Buckner, I think that should have been like the easiest choice, honestly. How do you not put DeForest Buckner in the Pro Bowl? The guy was like one of the best players for the 49ers last year during their Super Bowl run. And then this year for the Colts, he completely changed that defense. I mean, he had 37 tackles, 9.5 sacks, and 2 forced fumbles. And if you compare him to Calais Campbell, I mean, he should have definitely made it instead. It honestly doesn't make much sense at all. Now we're going to be moving on to the linebackers. They got a lot to break down here. Tremaine Edmonds for the Bills, I don't think he should have made it at all. I think Bud Dupree should have made it instead of Tremaine Edmonds. I think he just made it just because of his name. But Bud Dupree played much better and compared in much less games. I mean, similar amount of tackles, okay? But 8 sacks compared to 2 sacks. I mean, come on. And Dupree also had 2 forced fumbles, was a huge difference maker on that Steelers defense. That Steelers defense was next level when Bud Dupree was on that team. Big snub right there. Matt Judon, people are talking about him. Well, he shouldn't have made it. I think it's okay. Matt Judon, he had 32 tackles, which is pretty high for that position, and then 6 sacks. So I think 6 sacks is pretty good. Matt Judon is fine on there personally, I think. But now the NFC, there are a lot to uncover here. Personally, you got 2 guys who I think definitely should have made it. Got Roquan Smith, and then you got Devin White. Those 2 guys definitely should have made it. I'm fine with Jason Pierre-Paul making it, but I'm not okay. I know Bobby Wagner's a big name, one of the best linebackers, but he did not really put up much really great of a statistically wise performance this year compared to these 2 guys who were really leading the league in tackles. And obviously the Bucs are now in the Super Bowl, but you can't say that the Bucks are a pretty good team. But look, I think these two guys definitely should have made it. Even Fred Warner, you could have said maybe or not. He could have made it instead. But personally, I think, I don't know who you could have taken out. You should have taken out two people from somewhere. But Roquan Smith and Devin White should have made the list. Roquan Smith was second in tackles this year with 98 tackles, which is just insane. 2 picks, 4 sacks. So both are better than Warner and Wagner. But I think Roquan was filling the stat sheet, and that Chicago Bears defense was still pretty good, especially with him on the field. Then you got Devin White. He's tremendous, very fast linebacker. You hardly see guys like this. And he had 97 tackles and 9 sacks. So I think he could have made it. And you could have even made the case about Levante David, personally, the other Tampa Bay linebacker. He could have also made the Pro Bowl. You got some guys here that definitely should have made it. White and Smith. Those two definitely should have made the list. Right? I mean, that's it. And now we're going to be moving on to the safeties. I think you got a lot of snubs here. The corners, I think the NFL nailed all the corners you could have done here. You can take a look at the list right here. They nailed it. I mean, they put all the guys who I thought would have made it. You know, Stephon Gilmore, Tre'Davious White, Marlon Humphrey. I mean, Jair Alexander. The dude's a lockbox. So, yeah. And then you got Jesse Bates, the safety. This is a big issue. Jesse Bates was the #1 safety ranked by Pro Football Focus with a 92% grade out of 100, which is the highest you could get. He had 70 tackles, 3 picks, and 15 passes defended, which are all the highest. I mean, one of the highest. He made a huge difference for that Bengals defense. I mean, he played really great. He should have made it. They were saying, well, Tyrann Mathieu should have not made it. Tyrann Mathieu literally had like a 60-something grade according to PFF, which is like so much lower than Jesse Bates. But I'm going to get to a guy who I don't think should have made it. Minkah Fitzpatrick is a lock to me. Minkah definitely made it to me. But I think Justin Simmons, I'm a little bit questionable. I know he had a great season for the Broncos, but this team wasn't even that good. I mean, Jesse Bates is ranked much higher than Justin Simmons. So, and then Tyrann Mathieu was, well, you were saying, well, the Honey Badger shouldn't have made it. Well, personally, I think the Honey Badger could. I think the Honey Badger did okay. I think he's fine with making it. I mean, I don't really care about the grades and stuff, but besides him being on the Chiefs, he is the leader of this defense. He's the quarterback. He does everything for this defense throughout. I mean, he leads this defense. He flies everywhere all over. And there are a lot of things that he does that you can just not show on the stat sheet or even PFF, who've made a lot of questionable calls. But I think Tyrann Mathieu did okay. I mean, he had 6 picks, which is a lot compared to Jesse Bates, who had 3. Simmons had 5. But he had 62 tackles, obviously much less. But the impact he makes, even on the sideline for the Chiefs, the defense as a whole, I mean, firing them up, the leadership, his ability to play the entire back end really just stands out to me. He had a pick 6 as well, 2 quarterback hits. I think Tyrann Mathieu should have made it. I'm just not so sure about Justin Simmons. I mean, the Broncos were not really too great, honestly, even defensively. I think Mathieu just makes so much more of an impact compared to Justin Simmons. But again, that's just me. But yeah, those are the guys. Then you got the kickers. You got Justin Tucker, obviously. And you got Young Hoi Koo. He did miss a field goal against the Chiefs, but yeah, he made it. Then you got the 2 punters. Fox was terrific for the Lions. You got Andre Roberts and guys there for the returners. But overall, those are the guys for the Pro Bowl. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. Please go down, hit the like button, and hit the subscribe button if you enjoyed. Really appreciate it. And enable notifications to get all your updates. You need to watch out for my Super Bowl 55 preview. It's going to be coming out a little bit later this week. Enable notifications for that. And also for the future NBA content live streams. Love to see you there. And I hope to see you in the next video.